Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 148. Today is Sunday, September 11th, 2016, and I'm glad you could join me today. It's late. Sorry about the lighting, guys. It was a beautiful day today, and I couldn't record outside. It was sad. So, you get to have the 8:43 version of Molly after working all day. Blech. So, I'm drinking the Angry Orchard Sinful Apple, and it tastes like apple pie. It should be banned. It's full of shenanigans. So, let's see. Where did I leave off? Probably something here. I got this dreadfully tangled, so give me a moment to free it from my knitting bag. Okay. So, I've been working away on this, I guess I'm calling it the Captain America sock. It is, you can't quite tell, well, now you can. I just started to get into the other color. And because I'm showing you a started sock, that means I finished a sock. Yay! Let's see if I can extract it. I was also deep within the knitting bag, but no longer tangled. So, first sock is done for the skinny chicken legs. This is for the Dear Sweet Lovable one. He was actually impressed with how well it fit, so maybe I'll just keep making him vanilla socks. Because vanilla socks feel really good right now. I don't even know why. So, this is a 2x3 ribbing, 65 stitches, because 2x3 is divisible by 5. And then I sort of zhuzh out the 65 at some point. It works out. And then I ended up doing all of the normal stuff. So I really like a gusset and heel flap, and this guy is 3 inches long, because skinny chicken legs, giant massive heel. And I'm not sure. I might have had enough to just make a full sock without the contrasting heels and toes, but I really like how it looks, so that's probably not the end of the world. So I'll have a decent amount of leftovers for who knows what to put in my leftover bin. But it is coming along. It has been my carry-around project, and it might turn out that I have socks on the go for a very, very long time. We'll see. It certainly is what I have the brain space for right now, so yeah. And I'm still using my bag from Joy80. This is my number one, that's for sure. So, the other thing that I finally managed to get unkludged was my Delancey cardigan. When I talked with you guys last, I had done something wrong. I had made the wrong size, right. I've gone past that point, so all I needed to do was to rip back to this point here, and then sort of expand out again. So now it looks like a very large bikini. So this is the back of the cardigan. I have one more row, and then I'm going to start dividing, actually, because this distance here is about my torso. There isn't a lot of Molly torso. You could call me many things, but long torsoed would not be one of them. So, and this might be a smidge longer than I would think I would normally like for a sweater, but I think it'll be fine. And then what happens next is I'll begin working right front, and then I believe I'll do back, and then I'll do left front in the course of the sweater, because, yeah, such is life. So I'm almost, like, the part where I had the stripes running continuously was decidedly short. So this'll definitely be pretty, what is it? It'll be contrasty, but you can sort of see how everything's lining up there. So I'm using two different hand-spun yarns. One of them is the white Shetland fleece that I got when I got my combs. The other one is Nest, which is a mashup of two colorways, Nebula and Magpie, which is making up my multicolored stripes. And then I have my Wollmeise in my overdyed color, which has a little bit of tropical blue and a lot of tropical red. Kool-Aid. So, it ended up being a really rich burgundy with shots of teal in it, so that was cool. And the handspun has picks up those colors as well, so that's why I incorporated it. And the Wollmeise is in there to just sort of bulk it out a bit, because I didn't have enough yarn with the pattern as written. So I'm still on my first ball of this. I have another one at the ready, and I broke into, what was it? So I ended up having 10 ounces, but I could only fit 8 at a time onto my, well, no. Excuse me. Yeah. So my ball under is broken, and I haven't fixed it yet. And I've broken into one of these balls, and the other one is unbroken into. But I did manage to use up a smaller ball that maybe had like an ounce of it. Like, it must have had more than that. It must have been at least 2 ounces, I'd say. So, it seems like my yarn usage isn't that crazy, but perhaps it's the case where it's a little hard to gauge because of the unusual construction. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's mostly been a work-at-home project, or in a situation in which I can have a bulky knitting project with me, because it's filling up the giant sweater bag of doom, so. The giant sweater bag of doom doesn't fit very well into my knitting bag, so. Such is life. So it's coming along using my hand spun, so that's pretty cool. I did finish something this week. Yay! So I finished spinning the fiber optic. This is the Bitter Lime to Rose colorway, or at least one of them was. I'm a little doubtful now whether both of them were or not, so I'd be more inclined to believe that they were different colorways than they were the same colorway, but that different? I don't know. It was weird. But this ended up being a little bit shy of 1,500 yards, so this turned out to be $14.97. It is a beefy 8.2 ounces. That was a lot. It was generous. And it's a little bit challenging to show all of the colors at once, but it is a gradient. Let's see. Yeah, you're gonna get nothing on this. When it's in the skein, it looks a little bit too crazy. It looks a little cartoony. But the good news is that this pinky magenta is not gonna line up with the green. But rather, there's gonna be all these other colors in between them. So even though it's showing a lot on the inside and outside, that isn't gonna be the primary component. So, this is probably going to be a massive shawl. If I lose my mind, it could be a Hitafude. This one would probably make a very different Hitafude than the other one. Just saying. I might end up needing, might be a justification for knitting the Hitafude in smaller needles for a more dense sweater. Who knows? But very long gradient, ample yardage to do what in the world I want. Frankly, it might almost be too much yardage, thinking about it. It's a lot. But I started this April 1st. April 1st, oh my gosh. So it is, I finished it yesterday, so that was the 10th of September. It still needs its spa treatment, so it might shrink and poof a little bit after that, but as a skein it was hanging perfectly balanced after applying, so I'm thinking it's probably going to be good to go. And this probably deserves to be some sort of lace. What I really like about it, which comes from the fact that my two braids were at the very least, if they weren't different colorways, they were definitely different from each other, that the whole skein is marbled, the whole thing. So it's more apparent in the pinks, but even the greens and the blues and the teals are all, so you can see that there's a band in here, a band right here, that's definitely very blue. That's where I ended up needing to break and ply a little bit, like basically peel off all of my extra blue, ply it on itself, and then resume plying from the two balls again, because it was going to be like way off. It was going to be really bad. So for some reason, by the time I got to that section, I was like half a ounce behind on one of my balls. So I'm like, up, you're going to be plied against yourself. So there is one section which is more solid, and I don't mind that it's the blue section, so that's cool. So it turned out there's a little bit of teal before it, and then it's blue for a while, and then there's a little bit of teal after. But that ended up balancing it out way better. I think it was maybe only 50 yards extra on when I was counting, and then noticed where my knot was, where I joined. So I end up doing a center pull ball and then pull from the outside, and then when I run out of one of my center pull balls, then I'll pull from the ends and two-ply it on itself. So that tends to be a very good way of making the most of all of my fiber. So that even makes sense. Probably. So this one looks very crazy in the skein, and I think it'll be much more subtle knit up than it is right now. But all sorts of pretty colors in here. Glad it's done. Good to see the end of that one. Had I had my stuff together yesterday, I wouldn't have had a spinning project on the wheel, but this morning I took a little bit of time to select my next project. So I am taking part in the Spin the Bin challenge, where in January I laid out my plans to spin, 12 different projects. Some of these projects involve 2 braids of fiber, like this one, and my Hitafude spin. I think what turned out to be the tremendous roadblock, at least for me, was my silk spin. That turned out to be way, 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 way thinner than I was expecting. It turned out to be, what, 3,000 yards of singles? Oh my gosh, it was... And I spun it mostly on the spindle, so level set, yeah. Which now means it's September. I have 9 more braids of fiber to spin. They're all single braids now. But I'm gonna have to get my button gear if I'm gonna make this challenge. So what I ended up selecting for my spinning pleasure is a set of bats. So I have 3 bats, and they're sort of the same weight. One of them is a bit lighter than the other ones. Not sure how I'm going to deal with that, but these are Enchanted Knoll bats, and they're Happy Hope bats, I guess. So they're a club thing. I ended up picking up this guy on D-Stash. They've got soft sparkle, so they got the nylon sparkle in it, so if you run across sparkle, it's not very annoying to spin. And some other stuff, I don't know. I'll have to look it up, honestly. They're definitely, what would it be? So bats are a woolen prep, and these definitely act like they're woolen, so... So it'd be the case where I have to watch a little bit more carefully while I'm spinning it, because there are little sharp bits of fiber. So it isn't the case where the dyer made their bats from top. They made their bats from dyed fiber probably, and didn't necessarily separate the short from the long, so to speak. So there's some short sections in here, but the colors are super gorgeous. And they're turning out totally wrong, so imagine with me sort of a medium cornflower blue a sort of springy, turquoisey green, and shots of like a purple, and definitely sort of on the, like, it's right on the cusp between, you know, being light and being saturated, if that makes any sense at all. So you're looking at it, and sometimes it looks a little see-through or something like that, and it seems like it's a lighter color. But that is where I'm standing right now. So I have 3 of these guys. I just started this guy, and what I'm doing is, so we shall unfurl the bat. So they look very cute otherwise, but so I have the bat here. And so what I'm doing is just pulling a chunk all the way down across the end, so it's sort of worsted-ish, probably being the operative word. And I'm not done spinning the first of those chunks I pulled off. So, let's see if we can get the wheel in. Okay. So, here is the first chunk that I had pulled off, so I'm almost done with the first chunk. And here we go. Not too much fiber there, but oh, my wheel is sort of hanging all loose. So I pulled out my fast flyer for this, so I have the itty bitty ratios because, well, they'll probably make big ratios, but because I have tried spinning 3-ply sock yarn using my regular flyer, and I got DK. Hence, that sweater down there. I intended for a 3-ply fingering, I got a 3-ply DK. So this is how I'm making it accessible, is by using whatever, my faster flyer. And so it's resulting in a pretty stinking thin single, as you can tell. Not that I'm being super duper quantitative about it, but let's see. Oh, I was trying to get it to 3-ply on itself, sort of Navajo style, but that wasn't really working out very well. So, barely got it started. Hopefully it's not too crazy of a spin. My plan is to then take my 3 bats, 3-ply them together, and since one of them's sort of off, I'll probably have to implement the, the line them into balls before I start, because I know I'm going to run out of one before the others. But that's sort of my thought process going right now. But I did think long and hard about what it was that I really wanted to spin out of my bin, because I do have some really fun stuff. And what I did was this morning I ended up separating them all and putting them all in their special cubbies. So this area right here, which you can't quite see, are all of my bin fibers that need to be spun. And then I have 2 more cubbies that this one here is full of stuff that's not in my bin, and the one below it is not as well. So it's not like I'm going to run out of fiber. But that is a lot of stuff to work through in a short amount of time. So we'll see how I go. I can take it one thing at a time. The other bin fiber that I'm working on is my Pigeon Roof Studios, so that is going about as fast as the spindle project goes, but it's totally the right one to be on the spindle. It is a joy. Such a joy to spin. But, what is it? The last knitting group I went to, we ended up, going to an Indian restaurant, and I decided my freak flag didn't need to fly that high that day. I'm okay with spindle spinning at the Whole Foods, but the Indian restaurant, that was a step too far. So, hopefully knitting will be on this week. And then the week after that will be Stitches, Texas, so I'll be going. I'll probably still have to think hard about what fiber-related thing I really want, and probably, who knows. maybe just be the case where I'm talking with people and visiting. I would like that. I'm not even sure who's vending at it yet. Not sure. I have a feeling like I don't need yarn or fiber right now, so. Public service announcement. If you have a baby cocktails pattern in your queue, they're hosting a ridiculous, full of prizes, full of awesome knit-along right now in the baby cocktails group. So I just finished the mold cider, and winter is coming, so that's definitely worth it. Oh wait. Winter hasn't come to Texas yet, so just think for a moment. If we could even unfurl it properly, but hey! Baby cocktails pattern. You can't even see what's what. It's too dark in the darkness. But that's a baby cocktails pattern. I'm intending to knit Rolling Rock, which is a sport weight sweater. That was one of the ones that was in contention for my getting the sweater itch taken care of, and it might turn out that after I finish that one, I'll start the Rolling Rock next, because the prizes are going to be fabulous. Like, they're weekly. You take a picture once a week, post it in the threads. That's, like, it's really, the cal isn't about finishing the sweater in the time. The cal is, like, getting everyone knitting a sweater at the same time. Not finishing a sweater, just knitting one. It's the journey. So, I think that's a really cool opportunity. I just haven't been able to quite act on it yet. Other things I want to talk about. I've got nothing. It's been pretty chill around here. Hopefully, what is it? Yesterday was a crazy day, and I would have been recording late anyways, so it ended up working out that I recorded today anyway, so that's fine. I should be able to record next Saturday. Let me figure out what that date is by using the... Okay, so I should be able to record on the 17th, that shouldn't be a big deal. And then the next weekend is Stitches, Texas. So, that'll be fun. Anything else I wanted to talk to you guys? I think that was everything. I'll let you guys know how I ended up fixing my ball winder problem. I need to do a little bit of research and figure out. The short answer is the reason why my Knit Picks one failed is because all of the innards are plastic. I know that the Royal ball winders are no better. I don't think I am prepared to buy a Nancy's Knickknacks one, which I know for a fact is metal innards. And based on how big the skeins I want, it could be a thing, but I don't want to spend that much money on a ball winder. Like, it makes sense for an LYS to spend $200 on a ball winder. But what was it? I was having a discussion with a new knitter, and he was totally confused why you would buy a tool to make balls of yarn. That being said, brilliant guy, his third knitting project ever was making his own cable Aran designs for sweaters. Math PhD, I don't know, sometimes they're odd ducks. They can be really smart. They take to knitting really well, like ducks. But it was just totally confused that you would even contemplate spending $20 on a ball winder, much less $200. So, but there's perhaps some intermediate one that will satisfy my need for quality and my cheapness. Because the $20 for the Nimbix one was totally worth it. It's just that I push my ball winders a little bit harder than is perhaps fair on the poor Nimbix one. So, with that, I think that's everything I want to cover. So, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.